Is it working?
To a degree, it's not working as quickly as they want, simply because most people are incredibly apathetic. They're stuck in their 9 to 5. I have to make my mortgage payment. My kids got to get to school in the morning, and I don't give a damn about anything else. And unfortunately, that isn't going to work. It isn't going to save you. It isn't going to protect you. There's so much more going on here, and we are just one small part of this whole picture that's going on, and we have to wake up. Period.
Now, one of your contacts is a 4-foot 11-inch light blue skinned being called ФΥЛΕΣ.
That's correct.
Please describe his or her personality in detail.
ΦΥΛΕΣ, well, he's very serious. He's very benevolent. He's considered a sage in his world. He's an incredible healer. He has perspectives on things that are just far beyond anyone that I know. He's very direct. He's very humble. He's very soft. He's very direct. And when he moves into a room, like when I've walked with him or walked with the others, when we walk into rooms or different areas of motherships and the ships, energy changes. People, of course, they're very in touch with energy themselves. They instantly turn and they acknowledge him, and they bow. I guess he would be considered an Ishwish or a Yahweh, an Abral, or I don't want to use the word God.
An elder.
An elder, of tremendous wisdom and insight. And they take very seriously what is going on here. And the manipulations, the things that the Greys, the Orions, and the Reptilians are doing here. They're appalled with what's going on here. The other one is Morane.
Well, let me get to Morane in a second here. You mentioned directness twice. With that in mind, what was the most memorable interaction you have shared with ФΥЛЕΣ?
They're all memorable. But I guess the single most, well, there's been two, one that just occurred. But prior to that, the single most important one was I had just had a contact, and we had spent about an hour or so together, and I was very depressed, very sad. And as I'm leaving the ship, I was crying, and I turned around and I looked at him. And he looked at me and he smiled, and his words were, "The love that you withhold is the pain that you carry." That's been the most memorable one, only because of what that particular statement entails. When we leave our physical form, and what many of the Catholicisms teach, you're judged by God. It just simply isn't true. We judge ourselves. And what I read in that statement is that when we cross over, we look at the places in our life where we withheld love, that we maybe didn't give enough. And we judge ourselves on that. So that's been the most profound one for me.
And Morane, he's a 7.5 or 8 foot snow white skinned hairless being. Also,
he's light blue as well.
Oh, light blue.
He's light blue.
Can you describe his or her? Can you describe his personality then in detail?
He's serious, but he also has a really good sense of humor. He can snap me out of my depressions very quickly, and he has just a different perspective of looking at things. He also tends to be part of their exploratory team. In other words, when there are times when they need to defend themselves or they're confronted with something, he takes on a military type of role. He's very, very fatherly, big brother. He's also one that he shows more emotion. He'll give you a hug or put his arm around you, and he's just really, really wonderful in that sense. He's more human in that sense. He's not as sterile sometimes as ΦΥΛΕΣ would appear to be. It's not that they're not loving, but sometimes Morane is a lot more animated. And I can
relate
more. to him, and I think he can relate more to the emotions that we experience here, the tremendous extremes that we experience. I think he's a little bit more in touch with that, than maybe sometimes Faseus appears to be.
Now let me ask you, what was the most memorable experience you've had with Mornay?
I can't talk about that. I won't talk about that.
Okay. Now, please describe where and when you were born and your youth.
That's not something I want to talk about either.
Okay. In detail...
Because it's not about me, it's about the information.
Okay, that's fine. In detail, please describe your first contact at 8 years of age in 1964.
I didn't really know anything about it. I just knew that I supposedly had fallen asleep, and when I woke up it was evening. Everybody had been looking for me, and I wasn't where I was. And when I took them back to show them where the imprint was, we were playing hide and go seek, and this was in the peninsula of Michigan, near Woodstock, Michigan. And people had been looking for me, and I wasn't there, and I got a spanking, because I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and I'd been missing for hours. I didn't really know what had occurred until the second contact, which was at age 14, where I was told what had happened, that they had given me a physical, they had given me a suggestion to forget because of my family members just simply wouldn't understand. And they were right. They were very right about that.
Why was the physical necessary?
Well, they do that all the time. They do that to everybody, to make sure that you're physically fit, because they genuinely care about your physical health. And if there are problems, they want to make us aware of it and maybe offer a suggestion, like maybe you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Some people are even experiencing healings. And it's just a genuine caring for, of acknowledging who you are, not only on a physical level, but on a spiritual level.
Now, at age 14, what was the nature of that contact?
I was taken out of bed, and I woke up and I was on a table in the room, and this was my first introduction to Faseus and Mornay, at least conscious introduction. And they were looking down, and I did, on a soul level, experience a recognition. There was no fear whatsoever. And we talked, and they showed me some things about my physical self. They also gave me a ball which recorded my entire energy field, who I was, who I've been in past lives. And as it was recording this, I could see all these different images of who I'd been going across the screen. And they saved this, and this was put into the computer so that they would contact me and could contact me no matter where they were at any particular time that they need to. I was asked if I wanted to help them. I agreed to do this, although at the time I didn't know exactly what it would entail. I had, at any time, the choice to say no more, but it's been an incredible experience for me.
Alex, I presume then, if you had soul recognition of them, that you had had previous incarnations with them. Do you want to talk at all about any of that?
No.
Okay.
No. Everybody on the earth is from someplace else. None of us were born and hatched here. None of us as souls were created here. We all come from another time and place. My understanding is that all of the conscious spirit that's in this universe came through different black holes from other universes in time and space, which we simply aren't privy to. So we're ancient. There's no age to us. We weren't created with the universe. We came through another universe, through the black holes, to this place that we now call our universe, to continue to evolve. That's everyone, virtually everyone.
That contact at age 14, was that contact time travel in any way by the Andromedans to prepare you psychologically for your future contacts?
Yes, they were all the contacts is where they had to come back, because they came here in 1980.
Right.
So they had to go back in time and that's what they've done with a lot of people. Even the Pleiadians, to some degree, I understand, have done that, where they go back and they start preparing people early for responsibilities they will have in the future, as opposed to hitting them all at once and saying, "Here you go," just dumping it on your lap, and you're saying, "Oh my God, what is this? My whole reality." So there's increments of preparation that have occurred and continue to occur, and this is occurring with humanity on a whole, in similar fashion, where information is being disseminated in little bits and pieces of ground roots. People are starting to come together and really sensing change, and they're slowly but surely being brought to a level that when the real truth hits them, they'll be able to experience it, handle it, and assimilate it for our good,
Now, in 1985, your contacts with ФΥЛΕΣ and Morny began to become more frequent. Please describe the nature of your contacts and the content of your discussions and the ways in which you communicate with them.
We don't have enough time for that.
Okay.
But, we have put together a series 1 and Series 2 of this information. In 1985, it really started to, the information, they were physical. It evolved around the Greys, the Earth agenda, our spirituality, religions, Earth governments, Earth history, our genetic creations, the 22 different races that have actually colonized the Earth at one time or another, and who we have within us genetic racial memories of, within our DNA. And present time, things that are occurring now, and probable, I stress, probable future events, because the future is being created every day, and it's being changed every day, based on our thoughts. So, just to sum up, it is, I would need 10 hours.
Okay.
That's not something I could very simply go into.
Okay.
But the series of 8 and so on and so forth does in fact cover that.
Okay.
All that information.
All right. Now, how does the symbol they gave you play a role in your contacts with them?
Symbol.
Apparently, they gave you a symbol that you use when you
want to talk to them.
Want to talk to them.
The symbol was something that I chose.
Do they ever talk amongst themselves in a language you don't understand?
They do, and it's not really a language. They're telepathic, and yes, they'll stand in circles when they're talking, and when they do talk, flashes of light where their third eye is, right here, different flashes of colors that we don't even have on our third density spectrum, just appear, and they're just boom, 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 flashing all this color, and it's like instantaneous sentences are being just communicated, and sometimes there's nodding, sometimes there's nodding this way, or sometimes up and down, sometimes there's gestures, but all the time there's just flashes, and their flashes is their language. It's rare that I've been privy to what it is because they happen so fast. I couldn't assimilate it.
So there are some universal gestures then?
Yes. All human beings are very animated. Yes, they smile. They also frown, and they also look very sad when something is distressing them. So they do experience it. They do experience emotions, but not to the degree that we do. After they've had their discussions, one will turn to me. Usually, most of the time it's Morny, and he'll talk to me like I'm talking to you. He'll actually go to the great lengths to speak to me. Or sometimes it's just telepathic. He'll just look at me, and for a while there I wasn't always getting the message because I was so focused on the color that was flashing in front. I was watching that, I was like, wow, this is really amazing. But sometimes I'd have to repeat it. So, but now that novelty has worn off, so now I listen to the message. And ФΥЛΕΣ is almost always telepathic. So that's what they do.
What have they asked you to do in order to help them?
Just to disseminate information. I'm currently in the process of trying to investigate all of the current UFO information that's out there, and what